Well, ladies and gentlemen, here is the moment of truth. Time to turn off the whole of the network and see whether or not I can bring it back online from just this one room. That's the plan. That was the master plan. Oh, well, first things up, I did do a very small test, which is actually on my Patreon. And during that mini test, I did hit an issue whereby I couldn't bring the rail network back up online. But it wasn't a full test. It wasn't waiting for everything to shut down properly. So this will be the first full test I will do. So fingers crossed. So let's just quickly recap. So on the central city here, that is the main power, and the central city is the circuit that holds all of the production in the world. I have a rail network which is separate. That's just the rail. If the power comes from the rail, it just supplies the rail. As soon as the world lighting, the power comes from its own separate power supply. It just supplies the street lights. So first things first, we can just turn this off. The rail is now dead. Lighting is now dead. Let's turn the main production off in the world. So that will turn off. It'll probably kick into some batteries actually for a bit. But we'll wait for those to come down. So things are starting to shut down now. So we'll shut these things off. Distant shores. Yeah, you're going to get some fuses that will blow as I just randomly kick some of these things off. Mainly because I'm removing power before I'm actually removing the production. It doesn't matter, just turn them all off. Right, that's it. That's everything off. There's going to be a battery that's going to, try and do things for a little while. That's not going to last long. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to systematically just go around the world in a car because I can't use train anymore. And just make sure that everything is actually emptied and off. We need to leave, time for the pipes to run out of fuel so that the power supply actually runs dry. So let's have a quick tour and make sure that everything actually is empty. Okay, my first location here, middle of nowhere. It actually produces some steel for me up here, but this is all completely stopped. And it's actually at the lake, as I said, near the starting location for those who start in the plains. Everything here is off. Oh, there's still some coal processing down there, I think. Now, although it will continue to get coal from that conveyor system, it's not going to get any water. So conveyors don't take any power. They just continue to run. So the conveyor will feed coal. Here we go. But these guys will slowly but surely run out of water. It's saying it's producing 0. It's just stopped. So it has actually got water and it has actually got coal, but it has actually stopped. It says here there's no, even though this not coming at the top, it's actually saying 0. Yeah, nothing's feeding in, nothing's consuming. It's dead in the water. Fantastic. Now I'm gonna probably meet lots of broken down vehicles on the way now, because although there's petrol stations, when the petrol stations have no power, they don't give petrol out to things that visit. As you can see, this road here, I haven't actually got so far yet as to put lighting on this road. and add a hypertube. All my roads have lighting and hypertubes. So this one I haven't actually finished doing that yet. It hasn't got a name. So anybody who's a member of my Patreon and wants to have this road named after them, let me know. And I will do so. It's a bit out in the middle of nowhere. Train station above me. Yet again, dead in the water. And I haven't even finished putting the sidings on this road. It's quite a new road. It's a bit unloved, I think, this road is. Because it's seldom travelled. Yeah, maybe I'll give it a name and give it a bit of TLC. Get some lighting. The lighting in the world, they say, it's all on its own separate power network. So, yeah, I'll have to make sure I've got enough capacity to put all these lights in, because this is going to be a fair few hundred lights to do this now. So, quick stop. Now, down there is a copper facility. I can see already that that's completely stopped. There's nothing happening there. Conveyors are stopped. The train that picks up the goods is stopped. It's just sat in the station. No power. A tree that needs pruning that's poking through the ground. We're coming to another section there that's got no siding, which is always a little bit scary when you're driving above the sea or a very, very wide river. It's like, don't fall off the edge. Now, there is another production site here on the right. It's where I get my nitrogen from. It's down there. It's going to be doing nothing because it doesn't produce any power. There's not a lot of need for me to go and visit that. And somehow, if magically it gained some power, it couldn't do anything anyway because the nitrogen is put into containers at this location. And obviously that's not working. Let's go check at this location because some of this location I can still see some green on. This is the main place that I have my power switches, and this will probably be one of the last places that will. Oh, see, that guy stopped. This probably won't be the last places that will eventually stop because of the amount of fuel, etc., that's going to be in pipes and in storage containers. It's going to take a little while, I think, for all this to fully run out. I mean, these have clearly stopped now. These have got no fuel. A little bit of fuel really left in two of these. And these guys have got a little bit of oil. What are these doing? Nothing. Okay, these have stopped. These are no longer producing fuel. These will run out of fuel any moment. Yeah, these are just about to go pop. Quick look over that far side because I did see a green light over here. Don't want any green lights anywhere. Thank you very much. I think that green light's gone out now. This is a new area that I'm expanding purely because you see by the coloration of these are purely to supply lighting and rail. Try and color code things. So this is all red now, so this is run out. And those last ones have just stopped too. So this whole area, which is one of the biggest power areas, is now officially empty and dead. So I am going to quickly get to the next location. I mean, as I'm running along this train track, because I've got nothing, I haven't got a road yet that goes from that area over there back to my main base. So I'm having to run along the rails. And I was going to cut this piece out, but I do remember that somebody was saying that on the video I did, the master plan, I was saying about how large my world was, but I didn't actually show really how large my, constructed area was. So they were just having to believe me when I said that it was big. So I'll keep in some of my travels to show you the size and the scale of the world that I'm trying to manage via remote wire networks. But I won't put too much in. I mean, I'll skip this out in a moment, or you can fast forward to the next piece, whichever you fancy. Because who wants to watch me just run for like 10 minutes along a railway line? Now down below you can see those power stanchions or whatever you want to call them. Those pylons with the powers running on them. There's 6 networks on them at the moment. I am now already thinking about adding 2 more. I want a separate power network for the nuclear power, which I'm about to add on. And I want another separate power network for the emergency battery backup system. I want to isolate that from the rest of the world, but have like power cables going all over the place. And the reason I'd want to do that is whenever I find a geothermal vent, I'm going to build a battery system around it so the geothermal vent can charge it up, and then I'll connect that block of batteries to the main emergency power supply. So at any time that I think there may be like the rail network or whatever is a bit dodgy, I can just connect the battery sort of supply to that network and give it a big boost. I mean, not that I think I'll ever need any of these systems. It's just the fact that they're there, isn't it? It's the challenge that you set yourself to say, right, if this was like an ideal world, you'd want, things that could cope with, wires breaking, storms knocking things over. If this is a real world, you'd want some kind of like fallback systems to isolate things. I mean, you don't need to in Satisfactory. There's a lot of things we do in Satisfactory that do not need to be done. I do not need to put support pillars underneath all my structures. The cable quite happily float things in the air. Don't need to build roads with signs and markings and. But that's the fun of Satisfactory, isn't it? You start playing it and you're trying to get your head around how to do basic production and then a bit more production and a bit more production and the complexities of it kind of scaling up. And then you have to worry about like your logistics and your transport infrastructure, how you're going to get things from A to B. And it just becomes natural that you then start evolving your world to have rail or road and other things. And then you can get all those markings that they give you where you can start, yeah, putting down road signs and things. So I think it becomes quite natural for you to try and create some kind of civilized looking structure. But it is a huge undertaking, so I can understand many people not doing that. This is a long one. So if you have a world that is just a complete mass of spaghetti of conveyor systems trying to feed various productions, I feel you. I know. I've been there. We've all been there. I think everybody that does Satisfactory when you first start playing, you just end up with a complete mess of conveyor systems. And I still have areas that are just I wall them in and don't look because they're just like, oh my God. You just sit there and think, right, one day I will come back and I will tidy that area up. But then every time you open the door and you look inside, you go, not today. Not today. That's just too much. Right, so this is the next area that should all be dead. Just jump off the edge here and take a quick shortcut across. Oh, I don't want to land with those guys. Let's not do that. I'm trying to show off the power, not fight creatures. Okay, so I can see everything here is red. So this is a little production area. It's non-existent. There's another big power area, which is I'm more interested in. I'm more interested to make sure all of the power grid areas are not working. I can hear some things chugging away, but how are they actually functioning? No. They're making the sounds as though they are, but they're not. They're not actually doing anything. There's no water. They're going to they're not. They look like that they are actually functioning, but they're definitely not producing any power. There's nothing. Circuit is off. Nothing is happening. And these are all non-functional. Oh, and you had brought a car. Right, I am gonna cut this piece out because this is a long run along a roadway. But without a car, this part is going to be pretty boring. Okay, here we are. We're running up Cyrus X Street towards my radar tower. Terrence Terrace. So there's sounds of production here, but I cannot imagine they are actually producing. It's just a miner doing nothing. Everything in here is off. Here we are at the Riddler Steel. No production. This town is a dead town. Nothing here to see. I'll grab some fuel out of this fuel station. Just for a car. This is my main place. We'll have a quick look underneath now so you can see the chaos. Make sure it's all stationary. Drones are inactive. Railways are dead. There's a maintenance door over here. Where all the action is. All off. Nothing happening down here. All quiet. Go for a ride in the car. Are we looking for fuel? I said they won't be able to get any fuel from the petrol stations. So there are two main locations I would like to check now, just to make sure 100% that everything is off. All the lorries have stopped. Oh, that lorry. I thought one of those lorries move then. Oh no, it's making the sound as though it was moving, but they're not moving. I mean, in theory, as long as the lorry has got some fuel, it could move. The moment it gets to a station that's got no power, then the command for load or unload is just going to be sat there stuck, isn't it? It's going to be like, oh, I need to load or unload, but there's no power. So there'll be various small little places here that we pass that I'm not interested in because they're just little production sites. They don't do anything of any importance. They're not going to have any power, and even if they did, they couldn't service anything. So there's one big power plant down here, at the edge of the desert. And as you can see, I haven't finished the lighting on this road either. It's part the way down. I haven't tidied up these corners. They're all still jagged. A lot of the corners now, the roads are not so spiky. But I haven't actually finished cleaning up this particular road. I can see green lights. Why can I see green lights? This is interesting. So, something here is keeping things going. I have fuel coming from this that is still clearly getting fuel. And these are still clearly pumping out everything that's needed. This is still fully functional. So this is the circuit that supplies. Good question. Does this supply rail network? Or is it my other one? This is interesting that this is still actually functioning, because it shouldn't be functioning. Right, because this is its own sealed network. Clearly what it's doing is it's self-sustaining. It's got enough energy. And this is a failure on my part. What should have happened, and I have not done, is the production section of this thing should not be connected to the power section. The production section should go back onto the main power lines and connect to the central production so that they're isolated from each other. I'm going to quickly do that now. Okay, there we have that. I've gone and changed that. So all of these power plants, they're all on one network, whereas that production over there, that all connects in on what I call the central line, the production line, and it's also a remote location. I don't even know if we're going to be able to see it here. It is obvious, honestly. No, it's way off in the dunes over there. There's a little remote drone location over there. And that is also now on a separate power supply. It connects to central. This is now stopped. This ceases to function. Right, we're off to the next location. So there was one little, obviously, error in my master plan I had there, where I hadn't isolated that network down correctly. So the question of did it work is we don't know yet, but at least I found one little bug I have fixed. It's lucky I have these road systems, actually. Just this occasion. Getting into some of these locations otherwise would have been a real pain. All this lighting. It's going to want to come on in a minute because it's going to be night time and all these are going to want to switch to come on. I'll have to drive in the dark. This is the next major power area. I can see a green light. Oh, I haven't covered up a hole there for some reason. I was doing some work. So yet again, we've got a green light. So some of this is clearly off and separated. Some of this might have had a battery backup, maybe? Why is it still functioning? Struggling. So I wonder if there's some fuel processing still happening somewhere that's giving it like just a little bit of fuel. Or maybe the pipe network is that extensive. I know why. It's because this over here is a large fuel store. I bet you it's taken all this time for it to just run dry. Yeah, that's why. There is nearly 2,500 litres whatever of fuel that was slowly running dry. Yeah, it's on this way out, so I'll just skip forward, wait for this to go dry. I actually just flushed all of the complete pipe network. And just this last guy. Everything else is down. This last dude has got a little teeny bit of fuel left in him. I can't flush that. Can I pick it up? I think you can get it now. That's done. It's dark. While it's dark, I'm going to run off to the last location. Up this mountain. Okay, here we are. Running into the last location. I can see already everything is off. No green light showing. There's a little bit of production here. That's why I wanted to come here. There's a little bit of pull energy, but it's quiet. A nuclear power plant, when it's done, is actually due to be in a location. You can see it from here. Way off down there. Oh, there's lighting, street lighting. Lights are on. There's a battery somewhere. Ah, right. Yes, there is a battery. There's a battery in the central city. Just for street lighting, actually. So if I have a quick look at... Oh, I need to make another energy pole. Let's go check this energy pole. See what's happening with that. Yeah, well, the battery system for the lighting is going to happen for an hour. So I'm not going to wait an hour for the batteries to run dry, but they do supply lighting to the world. So we will actually be able to drive back with some kind of lighting on the roads. I'll be able to see exactly which lights are on the network, because these clearly are not. And which ones are, are yet to be attached. I want every lighting in the world at some point attached to the lighting network. So we'll just have to accept the fact that for the lighting, there is a battery backup that's got an hour's worth of power supply. Right. Time for me to head back to Central Command and see if this all works. See you there. Okay, here we are. We finally made it back all the way to the central control room for the moment of truth. Can I bring my network up from just this one room? Now, I've written some little instructions on the wall for myself. I'm not sure if that's going to work. So let's see. So emergency batteries, that makes sense. Put the emergency batteries on. Right. So we've connected this emergency batteries. Turn on the oil pumps. Oil pumps. Okay. That makes sense. We've now got over there somewhere should be some green lights, some oil pumps doing their thing. Fuel C, power C. Fuel C, power C. Right, I have to give this a moment and watch for that grey line. So what's happening right now is the oil pumps have started. The fuel production facilities are waiting on that oil to arrive so that they can start doing their bit and then supplying the fuel to the first set of oil-based power generators. There we go. Boom. Right. There we are. They're coming online. Should be more than that. That's only a couple of them. Just waiting for the fuel, I suppose. Yeah, here we go. Some more coming online. And again. Struggling for fuel at the moment. Saying, where's my fuel? Right, they're still fighting for fuel at the moment, but right, I mean that's stable. It's not fully working, but that's fine. Let's turn on fuel A and B. Fuel A and B. Okay, and then power A and B. And then we need to wait for that grey line, yeah, to climb up substantially. There we go. That's looking a lot healthier. It's still going to fight and struggle for fuel, but that's definitely looking a lot healthier. It's going to take some time for that fuel to sort itself out. The bin needs to be turned on. The bin. Now, the reason for that is the fuel productions are going to be making plastic waste, and that plastic waste has to go somewhere. So the bin needs to be turned on. Right. Then talking about bringing on remote power locations. I'm just thinking, do I want to actually turn on anything else here locally? I could turn on these two new ones. These two new ones, Fuel D, Power D, are not actually... Oh, yes, they are. They're over there. So they're new. No, let's carry on the order I've got here. So Zegama Coal. Ah, and we just blew a switch. Let's go here and reset the switch back on. Yeah, it's fine. I get that. I got that in the little mini test I did. And I think what it is some of these locations like Zegama Coal have got power systems there that for some reason it's like when they come online they try and cope and they can't, even though there is clearly enough power. Only just look at that, my consumption is eating into my battery systems right now. Because my grey line is not... It's waiting for too much fuel there. That's the issue. So waiting for that backlog to catch up enough for the fuel supply to hit that demand. We're going to carry on. We're going to push oil coast up, which will probably trip as well now because it'll hit the same situation, I think. Oil coast is just supplying power to the rail. Oil coast come online, but it didn't actually come online, did it? That's because there's no production at oil coast yet. That needs central to go on. So next would be fuel D and power D. That's just kicked in. So that's supplying more to the lighting system and the rail network. It's not actually helping out their overall power issue at the moment, which is still eating into our battery. It's still not fully recovered on the fuel side. So next is sandy oil. Yeah, same issue. Just put the grid back on. Oh, that sandy oil really helped. Sandy oil. That helped a lot. The batteries are now charging back up again. That's giving us a big kick in power. Okay, after sandy oil is distant shores. That's this one. Like every time I put these on, it trips even though there's enough power. It's just a surge, I think, as it hits. There's no need for it to trip. But it does. But it's fine. Okay, so after distant shores is the rail network. So let's turn the rail network on. Now that one I'm not surprised really, but is that blue? Which network did that blue? It says it tripped a network, but there are no networks tripped. That gets its power from here. Okay, we'll carry on. Gold Coast production is the next one, which is this one. Which is fine. And then the big one. This is the biggie. This is the one that my world either works or it doesn't work. Fantastic. Central City is online. Then World Lighting, it says. World Lighting can come online. And then that's it. Just wait for things to recharge. Now, in theory, my world should eventually get back to health. What state is it currently in? So the main production part of the world is fine. There's more power than that. There you go, it's coming online slowly to come online. But I think a lot of that is just due to the fact that the amount of fuel it needs to keep some of this stuff going is not being generated yet. Some of my power plants are very tight on fuel, and maybe I should give them a little bit more fuel leeway so that they can, gain this height a lot quicker. The rail network, it definitely looks like it's dead in the water, which is this. Now, in my test run, this location was an issue. And I thought I'd solved that issue clearly I have not. And the way I fixed it last time was a little bit of a cheat. And that was I kickstarted the rail network by attaching it. Gave it a kickstart and then disconnect it. And then some reason, I don't know why, but when I gave it a jump start, this one then functioned. See, there you go, it's online now. So there's something about the way I've got my wiring connected over there that means it needs a kickstart. So even though I disconnected it afterwards, I gave it a kickstart and then it's online. I could still bring my whole world back online from this one room, but it's not as smooth as I would have liked that to have been. So the lessons learned from this is there's something wrong with the wiring at Oil Coast, that it's not restarting correctly. It needs a kickstart for some reason. There's not enough overhead and fuel being generated to allow for a smoother restart of my world. Some of these oil rigs are taking a lot longer to catch up than I would like them to. They're still struggling to get fuel. But other than that, I would call that a success. Everything should start functioning again. Trains, cars, whatever. Everything should do its thing. See, there's still a few here that are red, they're off, and not getting the fuel they want. They're getting back there slowly. Yeah, I would call that a success. So what's next for my world, you ask? Where do I go from here? Well, my current plans are A, add my nuclear facility now to the world and then connect that up. The world as it is, I've got areas of this world I haven't connected up. The whole desert starting area, there's a lot of resources up there. I would like to connect that up to the network and have a rail network coming from there. The swamps, I would like to connect that up in this bottom area. So I've still got a good third, maybe even 40% of the map that I can connect up to my rail and road network. And I think that's my next goal, is just to continue to expand, add nuclear, get more resources online, get more trains online, connect this place up to my central city via a road network. Running back and forth when the power's run out along a rail line is not ideal. I'd like to be able to drive to here to turn everything back on. Yeah, that was a success. So thank you very much. I'm hoping you're enjoying this current build of my Satisfactory. And we're all looking forward to update 6 for some more goodies from the developers. So I will see you all next time. Bye now.